This is Noe Vico, the guy in the white t-shirt. We are standing at the mouth of the Congo River. It's there behind us on the left, with the Atlantic to our right. This is very near Mwanda in the Congo. Noe is a graduate of the center, and upon his graduation, he felt called to relocate to Mwanda. While he was at the center, he heard the story of the beginning of the center, which began underneath a mango tree. Little did he know that that story would shape his future. Once on the ground in Mwanda, he began to network with many and began teaching. Soon, he had started a church and described to them a vision of a church that would send missionaries around the world. He was convinced of the mandate of Christ for all believers to be about making disciples. Here's where the church is located. If you'll notice, it's an unimproved plot of land. And here are some of the bricks that they had made in order to begin construction. Well, this new church plant must have scratched their heads as they listened to their pastor sitting in their plastic blue chairs, meeting early in the morning because they had no building, only a small parcel of this unimproved land. They met early to avoid the heat of the sun, but the fire of the vision did not deter them. They were convinced that God would use them to advance His kingdom. Papa Job and Mama Nzumbu welcomed me into their home this past summer. Here's a picture of their 3 children. They are adorable, and we had a great time playing with each other, talking with each other. This family was a member of this new church start. They sat in their plastic chairs, and they caught the vision too. They told Noe, "We will help you." And they did, and they are. As the church grew, Pastor Noe continued to work with other pastors. There were new churches that were planted, and others began clinics to meet the needs of the poor in the community. Through this network of pastors, God showed Noe another need. Many of the churches were new, and their leaders were good pastors, but resources were difficult and training was out of reach. And they asked God, "What should we do?" Well, soon another satellite was formed, and the center began working alongside them to bring training to the region and make it available to the other pastors in the area. In Papa Job and Mama Nzumbu's backyard stands a huge mango tree. Every morning while I was there this past summer, I would sit beneath it studying and writing in my journal. In the evening, pastors would gather and we would learn again the mission that God gave us. In this picture, you can see the pastors who have already gathered for training. The mango tree is to the left and the chalkboard is on the concrete wall behind me. When night falls, a single light bulb lights the board while students use their cell phone backlighting to take notes. Pastor Noe has caught the same vision given to Zosh some 20 years before. He is determined to lead a mission movement and to obey the command of Christ to make disciples. You see, the center is training, investing, and launching in people like Noe. They are moving throughout the Congo, and they are doing this with very little resources. And if nothing is done, then this mission launching force will be shut down. You know, some have said, well, you know, if it's so important to God, then why doesn't God fund it? Or why doesn't God raise somebody up to do something? Well, I've thought a lot about that, and I've prayed a lot about it, and I realize that, you know, I'm somebody. I can do something. I don't have $50,000, but I can do whatever I can to try to raise that kind of money so that this mission launching force will continue. I made a lot of investments over the years that never really quite turned out the way I thought they would. The return of investment wasn't that good. We've all had experiences like that. But at the center, I've seen firsthand at what little can do in the right hands, and they are doing incredible work. They are sending Congolese missionaries throughout the Congo and beyond its borders into other countries as well. Will you help me? Will you join me in this effort to keep this mission launching center open? $50K in 50 days. Now, this isn't money for me to travel to the Congo and do work. This isn't money that our church is going to use to do ministry in the Congo. This is money that we're going to send to the center, and they are going to use to make the needed repairs, to bring the maintenance up to date. But I'm looking for some help. I can't do this on my own. I'm looking for people who will stand with me. Will you be somebody? Will you stand with me? I think it'll be an investment of a lifetime. Thanks for listening. God bless.